In March of 2021, I bought my Ford E350 box truck. At the time, I still owned and was living in a Chevy Express low roof van. And here's the thing, I didn't own any place where I could park two vehicles, so I just shuffled them around on the street and places where I knew I could get away with parking until I could set up the Chevy van for sale, and I moved into the box truck bare bones while I built it out. One of the major things that I wanted to add to the outside of the box truck was windows. And so the biggest install that sort of came right away were the 3 windows. A large one on the left side of the truck, a small one on the right side of the truck, and a small one over the cab area. Other features put in over the course of the build was 2 roof vents, some solar on the roof that I ran to the interior for my power stations, adding some underbody toolboxes, namely 4, 2 on each side, one of which carries a generator, and adding a shore power plug so that I could plug in when I had access to electricity. And eventually, way down the line, after most of the interior build was done, I painted the outside of the box truck. I also painted the bumper black and the grille black and made a couple of accents on the truck black because I just like some of the black accents on it. Some things have changed inside the box truck since I took these initial photos, small things being in different places, little things that were an experiment that I changed my mind on, but these photos taken closer to the finish of construction will give you a pretty much general view of the structure and layout of the inside of the box truck. So let's start with the cab. I didn't make a lot of changes to the cab of the box truck. I did notice right away that box trucks have terrible blind spots. And so what I needed was cameras not only for the rear for backing up, but on the left and the right. And so I installed a camera system that gave me a view of the left, right, and rear of the box truck, not only while I was parking, but while I was driving, and it made driving it much safer. It can also be used as a security system. When you come through the pass-through door that was already built into the truck, the first thing that you're going to encounter underneath my bed is my separating toilet and my cat's litter box. So yes, unfortunately, passing into the truck, you're passing my toilet and the cat's toilet. Now, 2 cats' toilet. On the opposite of that is my clothing storage, but my clothing storage is just bins stored in that space until I have time to really build it out in the proper clothing storage, so there's no need to show you that. Above the doorway is, of course, my loft bed. And at the foot of my loft bed is actually where all of my power storage is. There's a shelf there where I have a Jackery 1500 and a Jackery 300 currently sitting, and they supply all of my power needs. I've been asked a number of times how it is I get to my bed, and the simple answer is the refrigerator and the freezer. The smaller of my 2 12-volt units is a Joyous fridge, which I think is around like 30 quarts, and the bigger of my 2 units is the Iceco VL60S, which I believe is around 60 quarts. So my fridge is about double the size of my freezer, and I do prefer having 2 units as opposed to 1 dual zone unit. Next to the bed is my desk / table / any surface I need. It is set to a flip down hinge, but I'm finding I pretty much never flip this table down. It's always up. I do have a tall stool that I can use to sit at it with. And beside that is my heater, which actually has been moved at this point. It is a propane heater that I was considering replacing, and now I'm going to keep. And hanging on the wall is my bike. Now from this view, you can see there's a wall that's about a foot in from the inner part of the truck. and there's this tree wallpaper on that back wall. That tree wallpaper is gone, but the structure is pretty much the same still. Tree wallpaper tore up, wasn't worth it. Just don't do it. If you're considering wallpaper, don't do it. But anyway, on this back wall, you can see the curve around into the kitchen area, and so we're going to talk about that. So my sink is actually a utility sink from Home Depot that came with the cabinet unit. I am not the best builder in the world when it comes to cabinetry, so I tried to buy a lot of things that were already built and make it work, and this worked out great. I also have the Camp Chef oven stove combo, and I love my Camp Chef Deluxe. When this thing goes dead, I'm buying another one. Below my stove oven combo is actually a nightstand from Target, and above my sink from Home Depot is actually a medicine cabinet from Target. Like I said, I tried to buy things already built. Beside the stove oven combo is a single hanging prefabricated drawer that I attached basically a standard little extension piece of wood to have some more counter space. Under that is a washing machine, and above that is a huge cabinet that I got from either Target or Home Depot. I forget. I bought an over-the-shelf cabinet that fit the space, and then I attached it to the wall. And you might be wondering about these extra little shelves that you see tracking around the top of the box truck. Well, while a couple of them do have drawers I can use, these are actually for Mickey to be able to get around the entire top of the box truck if he wants to go up, to go down, to basically have vertical space to play with. He also tends to use the windows a lot. I think the windows are Mickey's favorite feature of the box truck. I had no preference for a box truck with a liftgate when I first started looking, but I ended up with one, and it was one of the bonuses of having this particular box truck. It gave me a chance to build like a little porch area, but there was a problem right away. The metal liftgate, it kind of got really hot and uncomfortable, and so later on, a tip from somebody else I got with the liftgate in the box truck was to add this faux grass to the outside of the box truck porch, and it has made all the difference to completing the look. Of course, the main purpose to this space behind the roll-up door was utility. So I have my hot water heater over here. I have my water jugs that I switch out strapped to the back of the shelf area here, and under that I have my propane, which by the way does have a vent space in the floor just in case of like a propane leakage or something like that. Propane basically drops, so the advising thing to do is to vent the floor, which is what I've done. There's a lot stored in this inner garage slash porch space that I could talk about in a video all on its own. But the coolest thing I've bought recently is a half umbrella that I can use as a kind of canopy when I am camping, and it folds right up and does fit inside the box truck's garage space. It also looks great at night. It has internal solar lights with a tiny little solar panel on top. So if I leave it out, it just lights itself up, and it's great. And when I need to park in the city, it's just all packed away behind the roll-up door neatly and not in my way, and I can pull it out when I get to the next campsite. Most of the things I would want to access from inside the box truck, even at times when I can't open up the back of the box truck, I did try to make accessible by reaching around from inside the truck through the partition wall. Most things were successful, a couple of things weren't, like propane. Like a lot of things about the box truck, the back roll-up door and the liftgate were not the shiniest coins when I got them. So they did get a fresh coat of paint and some touch-ups, and I even put some reflectors on the back of the liftgate just to help with visibility when I was driving down the road. And by that, I mean the visibility of me to others. So when I bought this box truck, she was not the shiniest coin on the lot, and she had some problems that I won't even get into. But they were mostly aesthetic, and I worked my way through most of them. Everything I needed her to do, which was to go room room and give me shelter, she did. And I'm pretty happy with her. She's given me a home in the city. She's given me a home out in the middle of nowhere, in the desert, in the forest. Anywhere I've taken her, she's been my home. She's protected me and Mickey and now my new cat Felix from the elements and the world and given us a place to call home. So even though she's still kind of rough around the edges, I love her. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, and special thanks to my supporters on Patreon and YouTube memberships who have stuck with me through a time period where I had to focus on the job that I'm contractually doing in Oregon right now. I am enjoying the job, but there are times where it is just time demanding and my focus just needs to be there, and there just wasn't enough time to divide my focus, so I thank you a lot. If I'm gonna be a good YouTuber, yeah right, I'm not a good YouTuber, I'm supposed to ask you guys that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment or do something to interact with the video. There's this thing called the YouTube algorithm, which I have ignored for months. So it's kind of eating my channel alive at the moment, but you know what? I took the time I needed for myself, and I'm glad to be able to give you at least a peek into what the box truck is and where it came from and where it's ending. And hopefully one day I'll get to do a more cultivated video tour, but I hope you enjoyed this one in the meantime.